Joining us right now is our very good friend, Senator Christopher Bond is the senior senator from Missouri. He's also the vice chairman of the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence and a very long-standing expert on constitutional law. Senator, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you very much, Jed. I'm honored to be on with you and your show and have a chance to talk with you and your listeners.
Well, I appreciate that. With me, Jerry Thompson. Today they decided, we had
Jerry, good to have you. Add a little class to this operation.
You know, you're stealing my lines, kid. No, anyway, Senator.
That one was so obvious, somebody had to tip it in.
All right. At the risk of being serious, I mean, as you can tell, ladies and gentlemen, Senator Christopher Bond is one of my oldest friends in this town. Senator, we have a really big issue coming up here. We got Stanley McChrystal going to a London think tank now, apparently already rejecting the recommendations of our brainy vice president to have a lower goal in Afghanistan. What does it mean? I mean, Ms. Crystal is set out to inform the White House, to educate the White House. They don't want to hear it. He's going to a think tank in London? What the heck?
That whole thing worries me, Jed. We had a bold statement, a brave statement by the president last March, which I went to the floor and supported because I thought he was absolutely right, saying we've under-resourced our efforts in Afghanistan. We need a new strategy. We need the people and the resources, and that's exactly what we need to do. I did a study with my Intelligence Committee staff last fall, and that's precisely what we said. The problem with the idea of as I think the vice president has suggested, just having the troops stay in the wire and go out and shoot at terrorists, or the counterterrorism strategy, failed in Iraq. And it failed in Afghanistan when our NATO partners were applying it. And I have read and reviewed General McChrystal's report. I think he has the plan that can lead to success, and he said it's critical we get those resources over now. And I have been appalled this week that the president has appeared on every TV channel except the Food Channel and Fox, and he's on Letterman. He's going to Copenhagen, but he hasn't had time to sit down and think about proving the mission that General McChrystal laid out, which responds precisely not only to the needs for our troops, for our security in Afghanistan, but what the president told him to do. I just don't understand it.
Well, it seems to me there may be a really big break between the Pentagon and the White House coming up to this. I mean, the last time we heard of something like this, I mean, it was Ron Fogelman, General Ron Fogelman, then Chief of Staff of the Air Force, basically rejecting the president's determination and resigning as a matter of honor. Are we going to get to that critical stage? Because it doesn't seem to me that this White House wants to do what McChrystal wants to do.
I don't know what they want to do. I had an opportunity to ask some questions to the National Security Chief, General Jones, yesterday, and I was seeking to find out what alternatives they're considering. And I got very lengthy, thoughtful discussions of the situation, but I got no answer. And the best we can hope for is that sometime later they will come back to us. I am afraid they're waiting for Rahm Emanuel to tell them what is politically acceptable, and that is a disaster for national security.
Oh, yeah, let's have Rahm Emanuel and David Axelrod making military policy and strategic policy.
I have no direct information that they are. But it seems to me, with all of the other problems the president has, that there may be some who are counseling him to make sure he keeps the far left wing of his party in the buggy, because he certainly lost the moderates as well as the independents and the Republicans. And Secretary of State Clinton and Special Afghan-Pakistan envoy Ron Holberg are said to be on the side of the needed troops. But a report today from the Associated Press suggests that Rahm Emanuel and Jim Jones are less supportive. And, of course, Joe Biden has come up with his strategy, which on everything that I have heard and learned and seen would result in the Taliban coming back into Afghanistan and bringing al-Qaeda with them, if we have another Afghanistan base for al-Qaeda operating under the shield of the Taliban, we are back in the pre-9/11 scenario, and I don't think anybody wants to go through that again.
You know, the collective amnesia we all have about Joe Biden is pretty stunning. Now, this is the Joe Biden that was against the Gulf War. He was against he wanted to partition Iraq up into 3 separate entities that, that by all accounts would be disastrous. Why anyone would be taking his advice anyway at this point seems pretty amazing to me, Senator. Also, the reports that I saw that came out of the Afghan summit, we'll call it that, yesterday, a large part of the time was spent on how we got here. In other words, let's blame George Bush.
Oh, what a novel idea! They've only been blaming George Bush. I went on a fishing trip, and the fish weren't biting, and some of my Democratic friends said it was George Bush's fault. When you have an earthquake or a tsunami, the first response, it's George Bush's fault. But I agree with you on Joe Biden. Joe Biden has a consistent record of being dead wrong on military policy. Sometimes people make a mistake and get it right.
Senator Chris Bond. Senator Christopher Bond, the ranking Republican on the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, thanks very much for joining us.